All right, now we are right at the end of our cartoon jumble assignment. When I brought in, instead of just the solid color fill, and I brought in all these colorful animations, the only thing I don't like about it is where I have the solid black here. It's a little too identifiable and distracting as the white rabbit's head. So what I can do is I can alter with Command T that reference. But because that reference is so much bigger, I have to zoom out just to get to the handles of it. And I might distort it or even warp it, which is a great tool in terms of transforming your content. And that way I can kind of move these colors around in a way that hopefully is not so identifiable. I can always erase from it as well. So I want the colors to feel animated looking without being obviously one type of animation. Okay, so I like that. It's going to take a while. It's a big transform. And then we're going to talk about how to save this and upload it into the class photo bucket to get credit for our first exercise. So I can also use my eraser and just get rid of the rabbit's eye. Let that black line come through. Yeah, and I think this works. Other options you might choose, once you have it all merged together, you can make a duplicate of it, and you can do things like invert it. So image, adjust, invert, and it will be white on black. And then you can change the color of it. You can do adjustments to your hue saturation and click on colorize, and you can change that black to any color you like. If I want it to look like blueprints, for instance. Or like a carbon print. I might do something like that. And you can add the two together. Like the red with the blue with the white. And that's pretty nice. And again, this is without me drawing anything. It's just transforming the content I've found. See, that's distracting. Let me see if I... Nope, yep, I'm not going to be able to use that in the same way without the white background, but that's okay. So what do you guys think? Should I save and submit this one? Or should I save and submit it like this? So that's option 1. Option 2. Hands for option 1. All right, looks like option 1. This looks so sophisticated though, you know? I could sell this as a bedspread. But we'll go with the other one. Okay, so to save it, we say File, Save. And you can do that at any time after you've already named it, just by doing Command S. That's the shortcut. Okay, but the problem is I can't submit a Photoshop file up to the class photo bucket. So I also need to save it in another format. So after I've saved it as my Photoshop file, which I make sure is right there, this has all of my options in it. And if I have 2 different versions I like, I might save them both with a slightly different name. So this one I might call Save As my alternate version to the desktop. So now I have 2 Photoshop files. Next, I want to save it as a flattened file type that I can control the size of to go online. And that file format is a JPEG. So I say File, Save As, And under Format, I choose JPEG, again to the desktop. The only thing that changes is that little file format tag at the end of the title. It gives me a warning under Layers that I'm going to lose all my layers this way. And that's the problem with JPEG, it flattens it. That's why I also have my Photoshop file. And then in order to put it up, I want to make sure that its quality is as high as possible, but I also need the file to be under 5 megabytes. That's our general guideline for things we put online. If they're bigger than 5 megabytes, they're too big for the computer screen anyway. So you want to keep them to a manageable size. Mine is right at 4.9 megabytes. If you have preview on it, we'll show you. If I wanted it even less, there's nothing wrong with taking its quality down. Really, anywhere between 8 and 12 is fine quality for our purposes, and usually what I'll do is 10. And you can only do that easy quality selection in JPEG. So I hit OK. And now what that does is it gives me not just the Photoshop file, but also a JPEG version of it. I can do that with my other Cartoon Jumble. Say File, Save As, JPEG. It will remember my last settings. Say OK. And now I can close Photoshop. Once I make sure they're all on the desktop, ready for me to use, I can quit Photoshop. All right, now I go back to my browser, clean up all these reference windows we tend to use a lot, and I'm going to go back to our PhotoBucket page. And I want to go all the way to the Exercise 1 Cartoon Jumble page, not the past student examples. This is where we're going to put our work. So you get to that album. It's empty right now, waiting for your work. And you are going to upload files into that folder. From the desktop, I will upload my 2 JPEGs. Notice it won't even let me upload my PSDs. You only need to upload one, and it doesn't even need to have color. But if you want to upload multiples, it's just fine. I just need to know that they are yours. And so this is how we do that. You've uploaded them. Now you have to click on them, and you have to give them a title. So underneath, you are going to title them with your name. And if you're doing multiples, you are going to give it a number. And first name is fine. So this is Carl 1. Then I go to the next one, and this will be Carl 2. And that way we can organize everything in this album just by the title you give it, and then all of your work will show up together in the order that you want it to. And now your work will start flooding into this. See, it's already happening. And that's how we will critique the work and share it and turn it in. Now, before we leave today, we will critique those at the beginning of next class on PhotoBucket. Before we leave today, we need to organize all of our stuff. So what I do is I make a new folder, and I'll call it Exercise 1. And then I'm going to move my finished files into it. I do an extra step, you might find it useful. For my working file formats, the PSDs, the Photoshop files, I select them and I'll usually mark them green. And green tells me that I have completed them to the best of my ability. But also that that's my highest resolution file. If I want to go back and make alterations or make prints, that is the file I will work from. And I will usually mark my JPEGs with orange. That's my uploaded version. It's already flattened. So you might create your own color coding system. And if you're really, really organized, you might create a reference folder of all the external images you found for this project. And then just keep that in your folder as well. All right, so now everything is there. Then you go to your Documents folder. You look for your face and the digital file. You open that up. And we are going to just drag this folder from the desktop in. And if I keep everything organized by name, I will call this number 1. And then I am also going to move my videos for the tutorial into there, but that's not something you will have. All right, that is it. If you want to see the video tutorials that we are doing today, what you do is you go to your links page. You can use the link to get to our NLC Arts Lab playlists. And what I will do is create a new playlist for the Cartoon Jumble for fall 2015. And I will put those 3 videos so you can see the whole process and review it. The ones from last semester, you can see it here. It's on just a digital art exercises playlist. All right. I was a little more long-winded this semester. So you can look for that to review what we did in class today. We also have lab hours after class. You're free to work on it after class. I'm here until 2 o'clock. And it's going to be we're going to do the critique of whatever's in PhotoBucket at the beginning of class on Monday. All right.